Alright, so let's talk about a recent situation where I was gaslit and recognized it and shut it down. What's going on, guys? So I can't mention, or I don't want to mention the place I work because, first of all, I don't really mind it. It's a decent place to work. I'm pretty comfortable there, so there's overall, it's a pretty good situation. But there are, like with any job, there's ups and downs, and I am a salesperson, so I deal with people on the daily. And there's one case in particular, and of course I'm going to leave names out of it to leave them anonymous. And this is just going to be a lesson for you guys, right? There's one case in particular. I sell furniture. So when we do special orders, if you change the fabric, like the one I'm sitting on, this is not stocked in this way. I had to do a special order to get this. Doesn't always cost more money, but it takes a long time to get. So a couple months ago, there was a guy who came in with his wife and kid. Really cute kid, jumping all over the furniture, but completely harmless. Just really, really kind of a ham, little funny kid. But anyways, they really wanted it by Thanksgiving. So, based on the history of the vendor they were ordering from, the company they were ordering from, I figured, it was 2 months away, which is, we always quote people 8 to 12 weeks. I'm like, this one tends to come in closer to 6, but like you can't guarantee it. You should be okay, right? But there's never any guarantees. Anything can happen. So, and you got the paperwork again, and it said 8 to 12 weeks. I was like, again, it could always happen, but like I'd be very surprised based on this company's history if that actually happened. Long story short, it got to there was a big delay. Like, of course, there was a big delay. One of the fabric mills shut down, and so it pushed his order back like a couple weeks, just enough to miss Thanksgiving. And I was feeling really bad about it. So we put a rush on the order, and it still didn't do anything. And we did. We were trying to get a definitive date, see what we could tell him, and there was a miscommunication. They verified that it shipped out when it actually hadn't, and I actually called him and told him that it shipped out, should be good. And this was like a few weeks before Thanksgiving, so only a couple weeks, right? And 2 days later, I get an email saying it didn't actually ship out. It shipped out like 10 days after. So I got kind of thrown under the bus because of the miscommunication from up top, and I had to call this guy back, and he was basically grilling me. I didn't call him back until a week after I already called him because, one, I didn't know for sure if the date if it actually shipped that date, or if it shipped before, or if it shipped later. I didn't know what was accurate information, so I had my days off, and then I wanted to talk to my manager and see what was going on. And basically what it came down to is I had to call him back and tell him that he wasn't going to get his furniture for Thanksgiving. So basically what he told the people at the office was that I told him that he would get it in 4 to 6 weeks. I never say that ever. I always say 8 to 12 and sometimes closer to 6 if that vendor's quickly. Sometimes I'll say closer to 14 if that vendor's typically slow. I try to be straightforward with people, but I never guarantee anything, right? So he's telling me that I told him 4 to 6 weeks, don't worry about it. You will definitely get it by Thanksgiving. There's no worries. And I'm thinking that's not how I operate, right? And when I called him, he was saying it had been 2 weeks since I called. I'm looking at my notes, and it had only been 1 week, right? So he's trying to gaslight me to second guess myself and what I've done. He told me that I told him to ignore the fine print, and basically, because the fine print says 8 to 12 weeks, he said I told him to ignore the fine print, don't worry about it, you'll definitely get it in time, which is not what I said. I never guarantee anything. I just try to be helpful based on the information I have. So he was saying all these things that, especially the 2 week thing. I hadn't heard from you in 2 weeks. I never got a follow-up from you. Well, we don't even call people for 2 weeks so after they usually place the order. He called in one wondering where his furniture was. So he placed a special order, called like a week or maybe a week and a half later, wondering how long it was going to take and when it was going to come in, then complained that we didn't follow up, even though we do typically every couple weeks, right? So it was just a mess. He was trying to convince me that I was in the wrong and that I basically screwed him over and fed him misinformation, and that I didn't call him for 2 weeks, and that he was threatening to basically get the credit card company to stop the payment, even though he already signed off on it. And yeah, it was all these false threats, right? So, but long story short, like, he was gaslighting me. Like, he was trying to make me misremember so that he could get what he wants. And that it came from a place of frustration and anger, but it's still not really valid. Like, you have to take responsibility for yourself. So that is a form of gaslighting. So if anybody's ever making you second guess your memory, if they're telling you something happened but it doesn't feel right in your gut, you feel like you can't remember what happened, it's probably because they're not telling the truth. Usually if somebody's telling the truth, you'll be able to remember it very accurately once they start telling it. So if you have trouble remembering what happened, again, that's a sign. If they're exaggerating, that's a sign, right? I had it in notes in writing that I called him a week ago, and he was telling me that I hadn't called him in 2 weeks and that I have totally dropped the ball in communication. Now, I was given misinformation, so I understood why he was angry, because I told him he'd get it, and then I called him a week later and told him he wouldn't. That is frustrating. I felt bad about it. I was stressed about it, but I got through it, and once we broke down the barriers of anger, he was more accepting of the situation. So, but that is gaslighting. I'm not mad at this customer. I'm not mad at the company. It's just, it is what it is. Stuff happens. People get angry. There's miscommunications. You got to deal with it. You got to take responsibility for yourself. And sometimes the actions of others, it gets thrown on you just to make the situation easier. But never let it get in your head and make you question your integrity and who you are. It's very important. So if you guys have any questions about gaslighting, leave them below in the comments, and I'll do my best to respond in a timely manner. Thanks for watching.